but we have seen a growing number of infections, particularly in children. What do parents need to know, and are adults protected?
Adults who've been vaccinated should be protected. This vaccine provides durable immunity, and there's no recommendation that anyone who's already been vaccinated, had the full schedule of 2 doses of vaccine when they were children, would need to get another booster. But if people are concerned, they can check their titers. The only recommendation that CDC makes is people who are taking care of those with measles. Perhaps healthcare workers might consider an additional booster later in life. The bigger challenge is with children. So children get vaccinated, as you know, at 1 year, and then again when they're entering school at around age 4. There's a window where children probably don't have a lot of immunity. So a child born has some immunity passed from their mom up until about 6 months, but there's a window between 6 and 12 months where they're largely unprotected. Typically, we don't vaccinate at 6 months because babies don't have developed immune systems where they can develop a durable immunity from an immunization like this. But there's some recommendations now that children between the ages of 6 and 12 months might get a first dose of vaccine. They would still require a second dose at age 1 and then a third dose at age 4.
I saw the former CDC director, Rochelle Walensky, was talking about that this past week. The current Secretary of HHS, Secretary Kennedy, has said he wants anyone who desires the vaccine, MMR, to be able to get one. But he also describes himself as a, quote, freedom of choice person. I want to get your analysis of what seemed to be a suggested alternative treatment.
They're getting very, very good results. They report from budesonide, which is a steroid. It's a 30-year-old steroid, and clarithromycin, and also cod liver oil, which has high concentrations of vitamin A and vitamin D. And they're seeing what they describe as almost miraculous and instantaneous recovery from that.
Are those viable alternatives?
They're not viable alternatives to vaccination, and I'd much prefer if he made a full-throated recommendation to parents to get kids vaccinated, especially in the setting of the regions where this virus is now spreading. He's talking about steroids and antibiotics. Those would be used in the setting of a child who's developed pneumonitis, is hospitalized, has respiratory distress, and so you might dose them with antibiotics to prevent secondary infections, and the steroids can reduce some of the inflammation in the lungs. The hope is children don't get into that kind of distress situation because they've been vaccinated. As far as vitamin A is concerned, there's really scant evidence that it's effective in this setting. It's used in the setting of malnourished children where it might provide some benefit. But I think talking about those kinds of therapeutics in this context creates a false impression that there's treatments available for measles when in fact there's not. The only way to prevent measles and prevent the sequelae from measles is to get vaccinated. You know, it's the same way people may consider whether or not they choose to get vaccinated for influenza, for the flu. Some people might make a decision not to get vaccinated because they know therapeutics are available. I certainly wouldn't recommend that, that they do that. I think everyone should get vaccinated for influenza. But some people might make that choice. There is no choice in this setting. There's nothing effective at mitigating the effects of measles once you get it. So the only way to do that is to get vaccinated.
Yeah, the CDC website describes vitamin A as supportive care, but vaccination the best defense. So thank you for explaining that.